Hello everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Jessie Lee and I'm coming at you with video number 45. It is 3 in the morning on April 8th and today I am wearing my moon shirt in honor of the solar eclipse that is happening today. Unfortunately, it is pouring buckets of rain outside, and I'm pretty sure this weather is going to last all day long, which really puts a damper on viewing the eclipse, and my kids are going to be super bummed. Some sweet soul donated a whole slew of eclipse viewing glasses to my kids' school, so each student could get a pair and get to view the eclipse, and the teachers have all been really hyping it up, but with this weather, I just don't think it's going to work out. Anyway, where we live in Minnesota, the sun is only going to be 75% covered in shadow, so, oh well, I guess. During the solar eclipse back in 2017, we still lived in Omaha, Nebraska, which was in the path of totality, so seeing that eclipse was super cool. And also, people traveled from far and wide to Omaha just to see the eclipse, and Omaha is not the most popular city for tourists to visit, so the whole town just felt like one big party and it was super cool. And the eclipse was neat because it took place in the summer on a perfect cloudless day, so that was a great experience and a wonderful memory that unfortunately my kids don't really share with me because they were too little at the time. But oh well, the cycles of nature continue on, and there will be a future eclipse some other year. Anyway, I'm awake at this crazy hour because my sleep tech clinicals have gotten me about 80% adjusted to an overnight schedule. And staying up through the entire night really isn't so hard. What's been difficult has been managing my clinicals with my home life, because my clinicals just take up so much of my mental energy that I just have not much of anything left to invest here at home. I'm just not motivated to cook or clean or spend a lot of happy time with my family because I'm just worn out a lot. My current clinic I'm interning at is the most intense experience so far, and I'm so grateful for the experience because I can tell my skills are rapidly becoming very polished, but it's just an awful lot. I am there for 2 12-hour shifts a week, and my brain has to be 100% on for each and every hour. The previous 2 internship sites I was at had a nice amount of downtime while the patients were sleeping, and I feel like I felt at home at those sites a little more quickly. But this site has been an awful lot, but it's worth it because I am learning so much. But I'm really tired, and I'm glad that I only have 4 weeks left until graduation. I am really looking forward to being able to have a breather. Another huge relief that's also super exciting is that I have a job lined up already, so I know right where I'm going after graduation. I very recently got hired at the clinic where I had my second internship. I loved my experience there, so when I learned that they had a job opening, I snagged it. They really liked me, so they are holding a space for me until I graduate and pass my boards, and then I should be able to start working there probably sometime in June. And what's funny is that this sleep clinic is actually inside the hospital where Tim works as an ER nurse, and he loves his job, so we already know for sure that this hospital is a fantastic workplace. It's really nice to have that history there, but the main reason I wanted to work at this clinic was I really just fell in love with how small it is. They only have 3 rooms, and then the control desk where all the techs work is right across from the rooms. So it just feels like you're more connected with your patients throughout the night, and just the small feel of everything makes it a lot less intimidating and more manageable feeling while you're sitting there through the night. I got to know very quickly where everything was and how everything worked, and I really appreciated that. In standalone sleep clinics, there tends to be 8 to 10 patient rooms with a big control room in the middle where there's lots of techs working on tons of computers. And if your patient needs you in the middle of the night, you have to go running across the building to get to them. And there's just so much equipment and the rooms are big and fancy and it's just a lot. So being in this different, smaller hospital environment felt very different. And I liked how that felt a little better. I could maybe work in a standalone fancy sleep clinic one day, but this hospital clinic just seemed like the right fit for me right now. Another thing that I absolutely loved about the hospital clinic is their rooms are no-frills hospital rooms with hospital beds in them, but the equipment that they use, all of the electrodes and sensors and CPAP stuff that they use on their patients is top of the line. Most of it is one-time use. It's not reusable, so the patient gets brand new equipment put on them that's in good, clean, working condition, and then we techs dispose of most of it at the end of the night, so it's less for us to have to clean and maintain. It's just all around nice for everybody that the hospital uses really nice equipment on all of their patients. So I really liked that about it. And then the techs that work there are 3 techs and a day tech who's also kind of a manager. And I met all of them and they are all super nice. I got along with everybody. 2 of the techs have been working there for over 10 years. So that's just another good sign that this is a wonderful place to work. It's just really cool that I get to work there because that experience working there was so meaningful to me. And I feel really, really good about where I'll be going. So it's just a huge relief, a load off of my mind to have a fairly clear picture of what my future will be. And I'm really excited. The one thing I don't like about this clinic, though, and it doesn't mean a darn thing, it's just me being petty, but the uniform they have to wear is scrubs, and the assigned color of the scrubs is olive green. And I don't really like wearing olive green. It's not my best color, and I don't think it's the prettiest, and I'm not going to enjoy dressing up like a cow patty to go to work every day, but everything else about it is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it overall. As you might be able to guess, I have not been all that productive with cross stitch lately, so this video overall is probably going to be pretty short and sweet, but I do have one very important order of business to attend to, and that is announcing the winner of the giveaway that I presented in my previous Flosstube video. The giveaway are these Mill Hill kits, this adorable caterpillar and snail. And as is the tradition on my channel, the winner of the giveaway was chosen by a special helper of mine. So right here, I will roll the clip of the winner being chosen.
Hello, my name is Sylvia. I'm going to draw the one winner for these prizes. And 3 people decided to put their names in the total. So I'm going to go and pick one name that gets both of these prizes. Do I open it?
Yeah, you can open it.
So the name is
Wendy Eastman.
You won these prizes. Congratulations.
Yay! Congratulations, Wendy. I hope that these Mill Hill kits will bring you some joy. I'm really excited to send them to you, so I will put my email address in the description box so you can let me know your address, and I will put these in the mail for you right away. As for my cross stitch, I have managed to keep up with my temperature fishies. This is a design that I came up with myself, and I am stitching it 1/1 on 36 count Edinburgh linen in the colorway Jalapeno by Fiber on a Whim. I thought this was the perfect shade of pond scum green for some pretty fishies to swim in. And as you can see here, I finished up the March fish and started in on the April fish. March here in Minnesota came in like a lamb and went out like a lion. These lighter orange tones in here represent some really beautiful, warm spring weather we had in the beginning of the month. But then it got really cold and we had a bunch of snow dumped on us one week towards the end there. More snow than we probably had through all of winter because of El Nino. We've had a very mild winter this past year, which is pretty unusual, but I can't complain. I'm just enjoying not having to shovel. And all that snow is melted by now. You can see here we have some bright oranges happening now in April because it's getting warmer, and I predict that the head of the April fish will probably be a shade of orange instead of red because I stitch in the heads at the end of the month with a color that represents what the average temperature of the month was. So I'm really excited to see what color face the April fish is going to end up with. Those of you who have been subscribed to me for a long time know that I do a temperature stitch every year, and this one I think is turning out super cool. I'm really proud that it's my own design, and once I have this all stitched at the end of the year and have worked out any kinks that I find in the pattern, I will provide a link to that pattern so you guys can enjoy it for free if you would like to stitch this temperature design some year. I don't know, it's up to you. I'm just having fun with these fishies. I think they're super cute. I also chipped away just a little bit on my Quaker piece sampler. Here's the design. It's by Remembering Bygone Stitches. And here is mine. I am stitching this on 36 count fabric flare even weave in historic beige, 1/2 with 2 shades of Threadworks floss. And I'm really enjoying the Threadworks. It just glides straight through the fabric, and the variegation is really, really pretty. So what I've worked on most recently is this star here and the little sprinkles surrounding it, and this peace flower right here. I was so excited to work on this little peace flower because it's so adorable, and I'm really motivated to crank away at this because I'm coming up on some of the cutest motifs in the entire sampler that I'm the most excited for. Next, over in this area will be a dove, and there's also a butterfly and a little line of people holding hands and some more unambiguous peace signs. And I'm just excited to continue working on this because I'm really getting to the good part next. I've had this sitting out on my work desk in this scroll frame for years and years now, and this piece is finally becoming a higher priority for me, and it's getting really fun. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this one in future videos. And the last WIP I have to show you is a new start. It is the memorial project I'm stitching in honor of my kitty Calypso, who passed away back in November. And the pattern I'm stitching for her is High Hopes by Just Nan. It is this precious garden scene with a tortoiseshell kitty who looks just like my Calypso. And it comes with this sweet little bird bath charm that will get put right in the middle of the piece at the end. And here is my start. Not a bad start, but I could have gotten along quite a bit farther if I didn't have to pull out and restitch the sides of this border at least 3 times. I don't know why, but I was having the hardest time counting all of these boring white stitches, but I think everything is where it's supposed to be now, so I should be able to move right along at a much better pace. I am stitching this on 28 count Ivory Lugana 2/2 with Vicki Clayton silks. Vicki Clayton has a very nice conversion from DMC to her silk colors, and I got all the colors for this pattern. It was quite the splurge, but I needed it to be extra special for Calypso. So I made the investment, and then I made this cheesy little tray for them out of notebook paper and cute washi tape in the corners. But I don't know, it's cheesy, but it works. And this is all my gorgeous silks that I have sitting out on my desk now all the time. And they are so pretty. Let me show you some of the colors. Look at that sheen and the richness of the dye. These are not variegated, but they're still very pretty. And there's definitely a visual difference between these and DMC cotton, for sure. And the visual difference on the actual cross stitch is a bit more subtle, but it's definitely there. There's definitely more sheen. There's definitely a very smooth, soft, tactile feel. Not that I should be touching my cross stitch all the time with my grimy hands, but you definitely feel that this is silk. And another difference I see with silk threads is that the stitches themselves are much more defined because the silk itself is so smooth and doesn't have a lot of little fibers poking out along the strand of thread. So the stitches are much more defined, which makes it extra important for me to stitch as neatly as possible to make the stitches as perfectly uniform as I can, just to get the best look out of the silk. It's a bit unforgiving in how your stitches show with it, but I'm using a couple techniques in order to make sure that my stitches are as neat as possible. Well, first of all, let me admit that silk is definitely more suited for stitching 1/1 projects. I'm stitching with 2 threads on 28 count fabric because I have to do that in order for the scale of the design to turn out correctly for this bird bath charm to go on there. So I'm just using a lot of silk on this project, and I don't think that's the norm for stitching in silk, but that's what I'm doing for my sweet kitty who passed away. And in order to make 2 threads of silk lay as perfectly neatly as possible, I railroad my stitches. That's a technique where when you poke your needle down into the hole of your fabric, you make sure that the 2 threads are running along either side of the needle. So when you pull your needle through, those 2 threads lay side by side just right instead of accidentally twisting over each other. So railroading is really important for uniform stitches. And the other thing that I've found important for uniform stitches with silk is paying extra close attention to the nap of the thread. When I run my fingers along the thread, I can definitely tell that running my fingers this way as opposed to this way feels much more rough. That means that the smooth way is where the nap of the thread is going. So when I have 2 strands of thread, I make sure that the nap of those 2 strands of thread is running in the same direction. I cannot do a loop start with silk thread because when you make that loop, that makes the nap of the 2 sides of the thread go in opposite directions. And it just makes the thread not lay as nice. There's just a difference that I don't like. And I just feel like having the nap go in the same direction and being very strict about that makes a big difference stitching with this silk and making the stitches look as perfect as possible. So that's a small thing to fuss with, not using a loop start, but I'm finding it really makes a difference. So I wouldn't say that stitching with the silk is difficult or finicky. It's just if you're stitching in 2 threads, it just takes a little extra attention to make sure that your stitches are as neat as possible because silk really gives a very defined aesthetic to your stitches. But I'm enjoying stitching with the silk. It was definitely worth the splurge. It has a subtly more refined and luxurious look and feel to it. Am I addicted to silk now? Want to stitch everything in silk? No, but I'm definitely happy with the investment of the silk into this special piece. It's an interesting experience that I'm learning from, and it just brightens and livens up this memorial stitch for my sweet Calypso. So this is the start that I have so far, and I'm going to keep working on this one until it's done. And once this is done, if it's still in the warm months of this year, I'll probably bring back out my De Colores rainbow cross stitch piece. That will be the next seasonal WIP that I have folded away and waiting for me to come back to in the farther future. But this is probably one of my main WIPs for now until it's finished, because I just want to get this done to honor Calypso. She was a member of our family for 17 years, and we miss her very much. Well, that is all that I have to share with you today, and I'm sorry that this video is pretty short, but I was just excited to come on here and let Wendy know that she won the giveaway, and also to share my exciting life update about the job offer that I accepted. And I hope my next Flosstube video will have more exciting news about my stitching, and that it'll happen sooner rather than later. Anyway, before I go, I've got to share with you the motto of my grandma, who inspired me both in stitching and in life. God loves you and I love you. And happy stitching. Bye-bye.